Elon Musk wants to meet you. The shocking reason behind it will inspire you. There's something I need to share with you about a recent conversation that made me think, specifically about you. Not just people in general, but you, the person reading this right now. It's the kind of conversation that shifts how you see potential in the most unexpected places. If you want to hear why I believe you are exactly the kind of person Elon Musk wants to connect with for what's coming next, drop a comment below and write "ready." Here's what happened, and why it made me realize that the most crucial conversations aren't with celebrities, politicians, or industry titans. They're with people like you. Last week, I was at a small gathering filled mostly with tech and business professionals, the usual crowd you'd expect at these events. The chatter was predictable: market trends, regulatory hurdles, the latest funding news. The energy felt flat, the topics recycled. Then I met someone who completely changed the atmosphere. Her name was Janet. She wasn't a CEO or a venture capitalist. She was a retired teacher who spent 40 years in public schools, attending because her daughter worked at one of the companies there. While everyone else was focused on scaling user acquisition and optimizing funnels, Janet made a simple but profound observation that stopped the room cold. She said, "You're all trying to change people's behavior, but you're treating them like machines that just need the right inputs." I spent decades watching how people actually change, and it's nothing like that. What happened next was remarkable. This room full of successful entrepreneurs and executives started asking Janet questions about human behavior, learning, and motivation. Her classroom insights were more relevant to their business challenges than any consulting report or market analysis. Janet wasn't trying to impress or sell anything. She was sharing what she'd seen through decades of working with thousands of people from all walks of life. Her perspective revealed blind spots in how these leaders thought about their customers, employees, and strategies. That conversation made me realize something vital. The most valuable insights don't come from people who only study problems theoretically or see them from a single angle. They come from those with direct, sustained experience of the human dynamics behind every challenge. And that's you. Maybe not in a classroom like Janet, but in your own field, community, or life. You've noticed patterns and developed insights that people like me need to understand but often miss, because we're too far removed from the day-to-day reality. This is why Elon Musk wants to meet you. Not because you have all the answers, but because you hold pieces of the puzzle he can't see from where he sits. The challenges we face, whether in technology, business, or society, aren't just technical problems solved by engineers or algorithms. They're human problems that require understanding how people truly think, feel, and behave in real life. Most people in leadership share similar backgrounds, education, and perspectives. This creates dangerous blind spots when building solutions meant for everyone, not just people like themselves. You represent a perspective that's missing. Your experience, your observations, your understanding of how things really work in your context, this is the insight that could transform how problems are approached. Let me be clear. If you work in healthcare, you know patient experiences and system inefficiencies that no data model can reveal. If you're in education, you understand learning and motivation in ways that could revolutionize training and design. If you're in retail or customer service, you grasp human behavior and decision-making that could improve business models. If you're retired, you have long-term perspective on trends and human nature that can prevent costly mistakes. If you manage a household, you understand resource allocation and prioritization that could optimize any organization. If you face challenges like aging, disability, or economic constraints, you embody adaptability and creative problem-solving that could inspire innovations no one else imagines. It's not your job title or circumstances that make you valuable. It's your direct experience with human reality. You've seen what really motivates change, what makes systems succeed or fail in practice. This kind of ground-level insight is rare in the circles where big decisions are made. Most leaders are several steps removed from the real impact of their choices. They rely on reports and data instead of first-hand experience. But you can't optimize what you don't understand. And you can't understand complex human systems without input from people who live them every day. This is especially critical as new technologies and business models promise to improve lives. Without input from people who know how life actually works, these solutions often create new problems instead of fixing old ones. I've seen it happen again and again, well-meaning innovations that looked brilliant on paper but failed in reality because they were based on wrong assumptions about human behavior. Solutions that worked great for designers but were useless or harmful for users. The only way to avoid this is to involve people like you from the start, not just as testers, but as advisors who can spot problems and opportunities others miss. That's why Elon Musk wants to meet you. He needs your insights, your questions, your skepticism, your practical knowledge. He wants you to tell him when ideas sound good in theory but won't work in practice. To point out blind spots he might not even know he has. But he also wants to meet you because you might have ideas and insights that could lead to innovations you've never been encouraged to pursue. Most people notice problems and think of solutions but assume someone else has already considered them or that they're not qualified to suggest them. That assumption is often wrong. Many of the best breakthroughs come from people who understand problems firsthand and see solutions experts miss because they're too tied to conventional thinking. Your lack of formal credentials might actually be an advantage. You're not constrained by established ways of thinking. You can see solutions experts overlook because you're not invested in protecting the status quo. Let me share another story. I met Marcus recently. He's a maintenance supervisor at a large apartment complex. For years, he dealt with recurring heating and cooling issues that cost thousands in repairs and caused constant resident complaints. HVAC contractors kept fixing parts, but the problems returned. Marcus started tracking when issues happened, weather conditions, and how residents used their apartments. Over time, he noticed patterns the contractors missed because they only fixed symptoms, not root causes. Marcus realized the problem wasn't faulty equipment, it was how the building systems interacted with each other and resident behavior. He developed a simple programming tweak that addressed the root cause. When he proposed it, management initially dismissed him because he wasn't an HVAC engineer. But the problems were so costly they finally gave his idea a chance. It worked perfectly, saving tens of thousands annually and revealing solutions for other buildings. Marcus' insight was valuable not because of formal training, but because of sustained observation of real-world system behavior. This is exactly the kind of insight Elon Musk is seeking when he says he wants to meet you. You might not be a technical expert, but you're an expert in your own experience and observations. You understand how the world really works in ways people like me need to grasp. The conversation with Janet taught me that the most valuable perspectives come from people who aren't trying to be thought leaders or industry experts. They come from those who simply pay attention to what they see every day and think deeply about it. You do this. You notice what others miss. You see patterns and connections that could be game-changing if someone listened. You have questions that could lead to better solutions if taken seriously. The problem is, there aren't many formal ways to share these insights with people who can act on them. Most feedback systems collect complaints or suggestions about existing products, not ideas for fundamental improvements. That's why innovation often comes from unexpected places. The people with the most relevant insights rarely have access to decision-makers or resources. But Elon Musk wants to change that. He wants to create opportunities for conversations between people with resources and authority and people like you with insights and understanding. These conversations won't just benefit people like him. They could be transformative for you. Many innovations that could improve your life are ideas you're uniquely positioned to envision because you understand the problems best. When people with resources connect with people with insights, it creates solutions neither could develop alone. This is why Elon Musk is reaching out to you. Not because you're famous or wealthy, but because you represent the authentic, ground-level perspective missing from most high-level innovation talks. He believes the next wave of meaningful progress will come from these connections, collaborations between those who understand problems firsthand and those who can build solutions. But these collaborations only happen if people like you share your insights and people like him listen. It takes both sides stepping outside their usual circles to engage with new perspectives. This is your invitation. Not a promise that every conversation will lead to immediate change, but a commitment to take your insights seriously and look for ways to turn it into practical improvements. Elon Musk wants to hear about problems you've noticed that no one else is addressing. He wants to understand challenges you face that better design or different approaches could solve. He wants to know your questions that could guide research and development in more useful directions. He wants to hear about solutions you've thought of or tried that could be scaled or adapted elsewhere. He wants to understand what works from your perspective, and why. Most importantly, he wants to engage with how you think about problems and solutions. What factors matter to you? What outcomes do you prioritize? This kind of conversation could reshape how he thinks about everything, from product design to business strategy to technology development. It could help avoid solutions that look good on paper but fail in practice. It could reveal opportunities invisible from his current viewpoint. But these conversations could also be valuable for you. They could help you see how your insights connect to bigger problems and opportunities. They could show how your experience could contribute to solutions beyond your immediate world. They could connect you with others thinking about similar challenges from different angles. Some of the most valuable outcomes might be the connections formed between people with complementary insights and skills. This isn't about charity or helping the disadvantaged. It's about recognizing that valuable insights and capabilities are spread far wider than access to resources and decision-making power. It's about creating more efficient links between problems and solutions. It's about understanding that the next breakthrough might come from someone outside the usual networks, someone with a fresh perspective on the core challenges. That someone might be you. You might have the insight, question, or approach that unlocks a solution everyone else missed. The only way to find out is to have these conversations, to create opportunities for people with different expertise to share and learn from each other. This is what Elon Musk means when he says he wants to meet you. He wants to create these opportunities. To participate in these conversations. To learn from your experience and see if your insights can be turned into broader impact. This might happen through formal programs or informal chats. One-on-one talks or group discussions. The format matters less than the commitment to value diverse perspectives and act on valuable insights. What matters is recognizing that innovation depends on understanding problems from many angles and bringing together different knowledge and experience to build better solutions. You have something to contribute. Your experience, observations, and way of thinking about challenges are exactly the inputs that could spark breakthroughs benefiting everyone. The question is, are you willing to share them? And are people like Elon Musk willing to listen? He's committed to listening. The sharing part is up to you. Let me be completely honest, meeting you isn't just important to him. It's essential for what he's building. He's working on something that could impact thousands, maybe millions. But here's the problem: every similar project he's seen fail did so for the same reason. The decision makers were too disconnected from the people who would actually use what they built. They had focus groups, user testing, market research. They had data scientists, behavioral psychologists, UX experts. They had every credential and method meant to guarantee success. Yet they built for an imaginary user, not the real people interacting with their product. You represent something no consultant or research firm can provide. You represent the reality between official stats and actual human experience. You know things that don't show up in surveys because people don't mention them or have adapted to problems so well they forget they exist. For example, you probably know why some technologies meant to simplify life actually complicate it. You found workarounds for systems that don't work as promised. You've seen the gap between what companies claim and what their products really do. This knowledge is priceless, but fragile. It disappears when people move on from hands-on roles. It's lost when companies grow too big for leaders to stay connected to customers. It becomes invisible when decision makers surround themselves only with other decision makers, not those affected by their choices. Elon Musk is at a point where he could easily fall into the same trap. He has resources and connections that could shield him from the consequences of being wrong. He could hire experts to tell him what he should know. And he could mistake their expertise for true understanding. But he's seen too many smart, well-meaning people make this mistake. They built solutions for imagined users, not real ones. They optimized for impressive metrics, not meaningful outcomes. He doesn't want to repeat those mistakes. He wants to build something that works for real people in real situations, not just idealized users in business plans. That's why meeting you isn't just an opportunity. It's a necessity. You can tell him things no research or analysis can reveal. You can help him understand not just what people want, but what they truly need, and how they behave when no one's watching. Share this message with someone whose insights and perspectives aren't being heard where important decisions are made. Subscribe if you believe the best solutions come from bringing together people with different expertise and experience. What's one insight you've had that no one else seems to notice? Write "ready" below if you want to share it. Because Elon Musk wants to meet you, and what you have to say might just change everything.